know who my MVPs of Friendship is Magic are? Tara Strong, John Delancey, Megan McCarthy perhaps? No, and good lord no. You see, there are only two whom I herald as key to this show's success for me. Dan Ingram and Caleb Chan. If it weren't for Winter Wrap Up and the plethora of other songs released in this show over the years, I would not have been as into it as I was or still am. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten back into Disney films or musicals in general if it wasn't for the wizardry of those two, so I have to give you an immense debt of gratitude there. However, please, do not get too mad at the fact I'm now having to grade your work appropriately. Christmas 2014 saw me drop my original top 10 MLP Songs list with a couple of seasonal examples following on from it. However, 6 years is a long time to desire to make a comprehensive update, and it would be difficult to really fit it in anywhere, so thankfully the show has concluded and the 10th anniversary is in full swing, as there's no better time for me to revisit the topic and put my conclusive hand onto the table. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my top 10 definitive MLP songs. Now, there are a few rules to take care of. Firstly, no songs from Equestria Girls or the MLP movie, as they stand alone individually, with my top 5 of each appearing on screen right now for those who are interested in wanting to know what the hell those are. Secondly, no song under a minute long, and thirdly, I'm limiting my choices to 1 per episode, just to make it more difficult and stop those bountiful musical escapades from dominating. And finally, before you ask, you can't listen to the songs here, because like the other lists of similar type, they will be flagged and copyright claimed by Hasbro. I will have links to all that are mentioned in the description below if you so desire. So let's enter the corridor to the musical cathedral and bow to what made me sing and dance all through this show's run. The song that kicks things off? I'll Fly. Oh, cram that shot down your triggered throats, you ungrateful bastards. Yes, I know I'm not the biggest fan of Rainbow Dash out there, as noted by the reaction to that one video I did, which still gets me a lot of grief today, even though that's been completely unjustified. This song is fantastic, and I'm not going to be guilt-tripped into denying it. Surprisingly, the only solo musical number that Rainbow got in the entire show's television run, its soft rock genre leanings give the edge the athletic tomboy craves, but has the emotive tenderness required to complement the rush to save Tank from his hibernation fate. Its verses build to climactic choruses, and outside of the opening Lemonade line, is mostly solid lyrically. It's a good song to pump you up and get you going for whatever lies ahead, which given Dashy's sporty and brash demeanour, it's fitting. It originally scored number 4 in my Season 5 top 5, but over time it kept hitting the right marks to where it continued to resonate and prove its staying power. I'm not shocked by this song's inclusion at all, even though some of you may be, because it earned its spot inside this top 10 through what it brought to the table in stylistic and genre difference, which I have to admit isn't just cool, it's 20% cooler. Season 4's Pinkie Pride remains a contender for best episode of this show, and its musical catalogue is a fundamental reason as to why. However, despite all the frivolities, silliness, and exposition aplenty in all of them, the most tender of songs still managed to punch its way through them, continuing to prove many wrong. Pinkie's lament's turn from somber defeat into gallant confidence is one that still actually shocks me today, as when you think it's nothing special, Shannon Chan Kent's wonderful range and restraint lures you back in, making you feel sorry for the despondent Ponca, while then feeling like she could conquer the world. It's dynamic, introspective, and gloriously layered despite its relative simplicity. It's why it still speaks to me, because in such little it conveys a lot, and despite having Weird Al Yankovic on the cast, the main 6 member stole the show. It's a song that was in the bottom 5 of the original top 10 and still remains there, but it's a testament to its remarkable consistency, and applause will be granted for its efforts. Honestly, I don't really need to explain anything about the number 8 entry because it wrote itself. The perfect pair, without question, was a juggernaut, and You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song is one of the reasons why it resonated so much with bronies and casual fans alike. Felicia Day's profoundly beautiful singing set the stage for showing us Bright Mac and Pear Butter's fraught coupling with as much raw emotion as one can give, with soft tones of an acoustic guitar simply doing the rest, allowing it to flow into your veins and make you feel alongside them. How so much power was shoved into just 1.5 minutes is incredible, and I'm not sure how it was done, but commendations are deserved all round for it. The reason it's not any higher is that despite its popularity and power, my preference felt others were better. But I won't deny that this is one of the most impactful of the show's entire discography, and I'm sure no one will deny that being true, that's for sure. When deciding the songs for the Season 5 Top 5, I was torn between Make This Castle a Home and Friends Are Always There For You in regards to which one would fill the number 5 spot. Back then, the former won out, and I was confident that I'd made the right choice in 2016. But 4 years later, I honestly believed that I made a mistake, that thankfully, I have the space to rectify it, with profuse apologies aplenty. Friends Are Always There For You starts off inauspiciously with a military snare drum, building the Season 5 finale closer brilliantly. As Starlight, then Twilight, and then the ensemble cast make this a rip-roaring, driven and intense orchestral declaration of friendship in all its guises. It's difficult to explain just how fucking outstanding this is, as it builds so fantastically, giving confidence to show Starlight that she's got the support necessary to turn her life around. It's emotional, fun, and has a pre-chorus that makes me want to sing the chorus itself out loud at the top of my voice. I can't believe that I didn't realise its qualities the first time round, and while it may not be the longest song in the show's discography, it holds up for better than some others I've liked more over the years. It's a song that could have easily ended the show on a very intense emotional note, and thankfully it didn't, but it made me want more, because it grabs you by the balls and throws you into the air where you'll want to stay for some time. This is a song that does its damn job so well, to where it surged through to this list by sheer force of will alone. That is something I have to tip my hat to and appreciate. You know what's bemusing to me? Is that this song came from an episode that I hated. Yes, much like at the gala, it took an episode swimming in its own shit and actually turned it into something somewhat presentable. And I can be at least satisfied with that. But what the biggest achievement of this song was, is that it gave the Student 6 their lone attempt at giving us a song, and it turned out to be wondrous. Season 9's Uprooted had one gem nestled within its battered, broken and fragile war chest that barely kept it afloat. It allowed these characters a fresh and buoyant vehicle to exercise their vocal chops properly, to carry some heavy lyrical meanings through with ease, sincerity and all the meaning possible. The Place Where We Belong is happy and sad in equal measure, mourning the loss of the Tree of Harmony, but remaining optimistic and cheery for the future amongst its rambunctious group's infectious singing that laces comedy into a song that didn't need it, but benefited from it. The moment this song begun, it just felt like it was special, and through repeated listens, since then, its stature has only grown larger for me, especially when its symbolism in relation to the show's impending demise and the fandom's response was brought right into the picture at the forefront. While it wasn't big enough to take down some of the heavy hitters in my list, it still stuck the landing with all the grace and poise you would want from a song like this, which is something that I cannot say for the episode that it resided in. It may not be to everyone's taste, as this is quite a divisive one, but I loved it, and well, in the end, that's all that matters, as it got here on that merit alone. If there's one thing that You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song proved, is that you don't need to throw the entire orchestra into proceedings to have a song knock your socks off. All you need is a musical instrument, some amazing lyrics, and the outstanding pipes of a Tony Award-winning singer. The magic inside is a stonking powerhouse of a performance, one that wills you to sing along with just as much gusto as Lena Hall herself does. And compared to its fellow brethren, the spectacle, its qualities are night and day, and unlike the Equestrian National Anthem, it's more musically appropriate for the pony in question. It does exactly what it says on the tin, giving Coloratura a righteous, figurative redemption and a showing of the authentic pop star beneath the synthetic guise that was held up beforehand. It achieves all of its goals with time set to spare, and proved to me over time why I was right to call it my favourite song from Season 5, because not only does it tick all of the criteria of it being a great MLP song, it's just a great song totally, and that is a very difficult thing to balance, meaning it'll be cashing in that check for some time to come. Back in my Season 6 Top 5, I boldly stated that the number 1 in that list was my overall number 1. Yeah, that's a really big hill to die on, isn't it? However, much like Friends Are Always There For You on the opposite end of the spectrum in this case, I feel I may have over-exaggerated a bit and have to make amends. That, however, will not stop me from loving a song that a lot of people hate. A Changeling Can Change still stands for me as Spike's greatest moment, a showing of how his misused and underrepresented character shone brightly under the lone spotlight to prove just how great he could be, with a tender, emotional and striking solo piece that hits the nail on the head of its themes decrying social ostracization, discrimination and xenophobia through encouraging a dialogue and being willing to cross the boundaries many are too afraid to. It's humbling and inspiring in equal measure, and while it can come across as a bit corny and cheesy to some ears, it carries itself proudly for me, and stands as a musical number that this show can be proud of for creating. While it may not be to your taste potentially, as a longtime fan of Spike, I could not have asked for anything more than this, and while I am saddened that over repeated listens its power has decreased somewhat, it still did enough to crack the top 5, which our little dragon friend will be very pleased to obtain, adding another trophy to his cabinet. Season 9 has already got one song on this list, so surely it couldn't get another one, right? Au contraire, my friend. If you knew what treasure that the last season had, you'd know that I'd be spoiled for choice. All of them were great, one of which has already exemplified that. And you may be thinking, oh, I know exactly which one you've picked, Fred. Well, you may have to reconsider, because the song I've chosen showed its true might and was able to accrue a bronze medal with its brilliance with comprehensive ease. A Better Way to Be Bad was one of Season 9's absolute creative masterstrokes, giving Cozy Glow, Chrysalis and Tyrek a tango backdrop to argue and debate in the most comical way, yet still retaining menace and threat that it needed to, well, be true to the character's core. The vocal performances by all three were superb, the instrumentation dances and weaves its way through seamlessly, and the visuals, despite being restrained by their dim location, are able to keep up with good efforts. It's a song that I didn't know that the show could create, or something that myself would ever want or need, but they made it, with its acclaimed results being as clear as day for all to see. And given how formulaic this show's musical numbers can feel at times, this was the stylistic shot in the arm that the final season needed to highlight to us, and it hit a home run with the energy it gave to the whole season at that point. Sometimes the best things can come from unexpected places, and boy does this sum that up. I knew after only hearing it once that it was going to appear on this list, and that is something that inspires immense confidence, and only a song like this could ever do it. You know what's peculiar? This list is mostly comprised of songs from season 4 or later, which means, symbolically, that the musical quality got better the longer the show went on, and the fact the same can be stated about Equestria Girls too should be no surprise to anyone. However, if I was going to pick just one song from the early years of this show to represent in my top 10, then it was going to have to be one that stuck with me and made me eternally happy. Thankfully, there is one song that does just that. Love is in Bloom might be partially ruined in-episode by dialogue overshadowing its soft bridge, but outside of the in-episode obstacle, this perky ode to marriage and love is simple, infectious, and downright gorgeous. Its guitar lick is hypnotic, the vocals are fun, and its steady tempo gently rocks against you as it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It's not elaborate or intricate like most of the songs early on in this show's run were, but that's where its timeless quality stands out. It's stuck in my head for years through its catchiness, proved its staying power through its ease of listening, and over time has become the most listened to song from this show on my iTunes library, usurping Winter Wrap-Up in the process, which I thought would never happen. This was the only nailed down choice that I had picked for this list when I initially started compiling it, and while I am disappointed that I can't give it the gold, its silver is well earned and stands up as a bastion for the early seasons that is immensely proud of what it has achieved. The time has come for me to reveal the entirely subjective but definitive choice of my number one Friendship is Magic song. And it is... You'll Play Your Part. Against all odds, after all the songs that have burst onto the scene since, including a few that I mentioned had viable claims to take its crown, the Season 4 finale's first musical number still retains its spot on top of the podium after all these years. Its gradual build into the climactic chorus still generates anticipation while blowing me away all the same. The vocal performances are still as good as they sounded upon first listen, and its lyrical value highlighting self-confidence amongst overbearing doubt still resonates as strongly as ever. It may not be the most bombastic, fun, or listenable, but the weight it still carries continues to leave an impression that has not faded in 6 years. It's proved a turning point in the direction this series would eventually be led down, and gives the emotional and uplifting gut punch to push its parent episode into higher gear effortlessly. I seriously thought that it would be overthrown, as subsequent seasons had given me real contenders, and while they did score well, they couldn't topple the king. And when I thought about it, you shouldn't change something for the sake of it, especially if you believe that change wouldn't be genuine. The memories of this song are strong, the feelings of this song remains, and the song itself is still as emblematic of this show at its rousing best. So, as a result, You'll Play Your Part, for me at least, will continue to reign supreme, well after the sun sets. I've been Freddie Thomas, you've been people watching, this is the CC Network, and I will see you all next time.